Continuing the trap tree, we have the lightning branch sitting over here on the left, and where fire is used in the early game, trap assassins tend to favor lightning in the late game due to the fact that it's resisted less overall and its immunities are far easier to break. This is especially important since for both fire and lightning traps, only two of them get any benefits beyond plus skills from your gear. So today we're going to look at the three pure lightning traps, Shockweb, Charge Bolt Sentry, and Lightning Sentry, since we already covered the split damage trap, Death Sentry, in its own video earlier, that you'll find linked at the end. Though, on the pure lightning front, let's start with Shockweb. This skill is often dismissed, but is actually an interesting tool more in line with Fire Blast, since due to being a self-cast and direct damage, you do benefit from your equipment, with things such as Rest in Peace, +% lightning damage, and even -% enemy lightning resists working with this skill. And while it has a massive next delay, preventing it from piling on a single target super hard, it is still useful as a landmine to drop among your other normal traps when targets are not lightning immune. The way this skill functions is you essentially throw out a series of lightning grenades that spark on the ground for a few seconds and damage enemies that walk through them, and with higher levels as well as more points in Fire Blast, you end up stacking quite a few of these missiles, allowing it to hit a fairly wide area. Though, as a ground-based attack, it still will only hit enemies that cannot go across rivers and chasms. As far as damage, it follows the unfortunate lightning rule of synergies only affecting maximum damage, so it will lower the average damage, but you will still get some impressive maximum damage for what it is. Now, in the more traditional trap forms, we'll start with the Charged Bolt Trap, which functions much like its sorceress counterpart, firing a volley of multiple charged bolts out at the enemy at the nearest to the trap, with bolts provided by the Shockweb synergy, allowing it to stack damage a bit better, though even at point blank, and even though the lightning from these traps can all hit the same target, it generally will not compare to its bigger siblings on the sorceress or even the Amazon, but they're still better than people will likely acknowledge due to it being eclipsed by its big brother. Now, as with all deployed traps, it sadly will not benefit from the lightning boost on your character, with neither +% lightning damage or -% lightning resist affecting the damage of these traps, which is one of the primary reasons it struggles so much compared to the Charge Bolt equivalent on the other classes, since they can benefit from this effect. Now, speaking of the big brother Lightning Sentry, we have easily the most commonly used trap in the game, and while individually it lacks the punch of Sorceress Lightning, and it still has the same penalty of other lightning skills with a minimum damage lock, as well as the penalty of other deployed traps with its lack of functionality with the % boost effects, it still has massive advantage thanks to the corner shots by placing it far away, as well as being able to deploy 5 of them very quickly to focus down targets. And while similar to Death Sentry, this will be your most common trap even in the late game assassins, with most players favoring either a 3-2 split or even a 4-1 split with Death Sentry for dealing with crowds effectively. And with the significantly longer awareness range of lightning traps compared to, say, Death Sentry or the fire traps, it is weirdly better positioned for dealing with threats before they ever get near the assassin. And while these skills don't benefit from the % effects from equipment, they still benefit if a party member is using Conviction to lower the resist of the enemies, since lightning resists are some of the easiest to break in the game. So combining this with an Infinity Mercenary in the very late game is one of the most commonly used tricks. Now, if you want to know more about the other elemental traps, you will find links to them on screen now, with the one on the left leading you to the more fire traps, and the one on the right showing off the corpse exploding skills of the Death Sentry. And as always, a special thanks to the patrons that help keep this channel afloat.